All right. On the Guardian Post newspapers this morning, it says here, killing of Martinez Zogo, Vision 4 TV boss Amugu Belinga arrested for alleged involvement. His close collaborator Bruno Bijang, a private security chief, also picked up for questioning. Very interesting to see that. And also, ending female genital mutilation. Stakeholders call for change of mentality, involvement of men and boys. Killing of Martinez Zogo, once again, suspect indicts regime barons in Reporters Without Borders report. And also, trade unions, CSOs on government's throat after vexing national issues. Call for abolition of repressive sections of 2023 finance law. Demand prosecution of embezzlers of AFCON and COVID-19 funds. Pressure government to recruit 100,000 youth to curb spiraling unemployment. Say the country's education system out of touch with reality and needs overhaul. I think these are the big stories on the Guardian Post this morning coming out of Cameroon.
All right, now let's head over to Uganda and see the front page of the Daily Monitor. On the front page, the big story is schools register low turn-up on first day. We can see here, Dolstad parents and educationists who interviewed yesterday attributed the low turn-up to lack of school fees occasioned by hard economic times and the scrapping of beginning of terms. Now, this is also something that's happening in South Africa as well, which we'll be taking much later, as parents are struggling with the school fees. And on page 4, Umeme bosses eye 1 trillion shillings in payout. On page 5, okay, a brief breakdown of the story. Government is set to pay out the, okay, that's not quite clear. Let's move on to the next paper. The next story rather. IGG, still on the Daily Monitor. IGG, we shall call Biarugaba on NSSF. That's that one. And we have one more story. Children ask parents for more time with them. That's on Rainbow. We have Museveni lists 9 key issues to jumpstart economy. President Museveni, that's the updates there. Osage, this is very painful. Children asking parents for more time with them on the front page of the Daily Monitor. It would seem that, and it's understandable, back in the day, it used to be maybe more of the father doing the hustling to bring in the bills, right?
Yeah.
And the mom managing the home. Now we have a lot more of both mother and father going out to work. And I don't know that in some way we've completely found a balance.
I mean, things are different, you know, right? Times are different now.
Yeah.
There's more of a call for a working wife compared to the way it used to be before. Even if, you know, of course, I grew up in a household where both my parents worked. But the whole narrative of a man being the you know, sole breadwinner, some of all of that, you know, is fading. There's now more women who are encouraged to work, and of course, for good reasons. And it will, of course, affect the household. You know, if you're not able to manage, you know, because, you know, like I said, both my parents worked. So if you're not able to manage, working and trying to, you know, earn money for the home and at the same time creating time for your children, it may not necessarily be a problem with, you know, the society. It might be a problem with, you know, individuals and their ability to manage their households. You know,
yeah, I just feel that both parties, and these are some of the conversations we must even have whilst they're dating, both parties must figure out how to manage home and manage the family, because at the end of the day, something will give at some point. Something has to give, and both parties have to be involved. It's nobody's sole responsibility to be there for the child. There's the role the father plays, and there's the role the mother plays as well.
Absolutely. The ideal family unit that we grew up knowing, you know, was father, mother, children, 2, 3, 4 kids max. And of course, you know, both parents having a job, you know, but of course kids go to school, come back home at 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. And of course, everybody still spends the evening together. Spends the whole day together. But, you know, jobs are changing also. You know, we must also realize that there's more jobs these days that may also require one, you know, of both parents, or maybe even both parents working far away from home and not necessarily indoors. But at the same time, there's more work these days that are remote.
Yeah.
So you have more time to even spend indoors. So I think there is more, you know, we probably need to look at what Uganda's, what's peculiar about Uganda's, you know, working situation concerning the home. Because I feel like parents should be able to manage both. You know, you should be able to, you know, do your hustle work, earn a, you know, source of income at the same time, still have time for the family.
Well,
except you're that man who had 100 and something children.
2 wives, 102 children and 12 wives.
Yeah.
Well, it's not easy. It's easier said than done.
I get it, of course. Now, Now let's go to Nigeria and see what's going on the Punch newspapers this morning. The big stories in West Africa. It says there, new Naira governors, parties begin legal battle over CBN deadline. El Rufai, Matawale, Yahaya Bello sue federal government, demand extension. Court backs parties, stops CBN and Buhari from shifting deadline. EFCC nabs Abuja Bank manager hoarding 29 million Naira new notes. It's a lot of drama. The world mourns as earthquake kills over 2,700 people in Turkey and Syria.
Oh, the death toll has actually increased. As at the last count I'm seeing here, 4,300 persons.
Heartbreaking. Thugs disrupt a Rivers APC rally, destroy vehicles. Man arraigned for burning wife and brother-in-law to death. And also on the Punch, will hunt down 16 Nigerians killers in Burkina Faso, says President Buhari. Court stops Lagos International Airport concession, and also Autumn shuns Atiku campaign as Ayu slams governor. Lawan's Supreme Court victory, daylight robbery, says Machina. Of course, we also saw this, very, very controversial ruling by Nigeria's justice system in Imo State, where a candidate who came out fourth in the elections eventually was declared winner.
Yep.
But of course the peculiarities about this one,
was the person even a candidate at all?
Yeah, but so they claimed that there was another APC primary that was done in June. So Machina's primaries were done in May. At that time, Lawan was still thinking that he might be running for president. When that eventually failed, they claimed that they did another primaries in June.
Is that confirmed?
An INEC official supposedly testified in court that he was present during the primaries in June. But once again, I feel it's a legal team representing Machina that may have made very small mistake that the Supreme Court somehow, some way spotted. We're gonna wait for a legal team. Yeah,
it would be nice to actually hear the details. I mean, to read the judgment, to find out the details of exactly what went down, and to find out if he was really in the running. Because it would be such a sham if he wasn't in the running and then, this has happened.
Yeah.
It's also, it's not making the Supreme Court look good.
It's not. It's not making Nigeria's legal system generally look good. And of course, there's more of these, discussions of justice for hire, justice for rent, or rather rulings for rent and all of that. But, I think it will be better to look at what exactly Machina's team was contesting. Because they claim that everybody is aware that they had APC primaries in May, which Lawan was not present, right? And then Lawan claims that they had another APC primaries in June, which Machina was not present.
So whose one are we then going to choose?
Exactly. So those are some of the things that would need to be brought to book. But I feel like Machina's team were tackling the wrong issue, and that's where they may have gotten it wrong. I'm not a legal
it's the same thing with what's
practitioner,
happening in Osun State, and everybody's just watching.
Yes, seeing how that plays out.
And we're wondering, this is interesting.
But we'll see. We'll of course bring in legal practitioner here, who has practiced more than my learned colleague here.
Please respect yourself.
Discuss this. All right. That's all we have on the Punch newspapers this morning.
All right, now let's head over to the Nation newspaper. On the front page of the Nation, we have the big story here that says, governors ask Supreme Court to halt CBN's Naira swap deadline. Kaduna, Kogi, Zamfara State sue federal government. 4 political parties get High Court injunction to block extension. EFCC arrests bank official with 29 million Naira new notes. Where did that person get that money from? There's also been stories I've seen about bank heads that have been arrested for hoarding new Naira. Now, if the deadline, CBN Naira swap deadline is extended, Osage, it defeats the purpose of what was trying to be achieved. There have been a number of political parties that have said that they will opt out of the electoral race, about 13 of them, that have said that they will opt out of the electoral race if CBN ends up extending the deadline. So, yes, on the one hand, it's a catch-22 situation, really. On the one hand, it's causing immense hardship, right, for the people, the Nigerian people. Yesterday, I went to pump my tires, and I probably edit it and put it online. And I decided to do a random interview in the market, asking people how the new Naira policy has affected them, and it wasn't a good report I was hearing. They were all very complaining bitterly about how market has reduced. According to them, people don't come to the market as much. It's causing a lot of hardship. But on the other hand, you are trying to also control vote buying and the likes. But I guess we'll see how this turns out. 3,500 killed in Turkey, Syria earthquakes. Katsina, Buhari seeks 2 million votes for Tinubu. Terrorists will be defeated, says APC candidate. At the top of the paper, trial of a Kweremadu wife, child, doctor begins. I just really want them to get to the end of this matter. It's taking longer than we expected. Why NLC opted for consensus to pick leader? Education is the greatest weapon against poverty. And the final story says, Emefiele's Naira redesigned dance and the general election. This is an analysis. If you want to look into that, get yourself a copy of the Nation newspaper. And that's all that we can take this morning. We'll be talking more about this as we proceed with the show. Of course, we have our top stories. We'll go on a break. When we come back, our top stories will be here. Stay with us.